Do not adjust your television. This is rotated 90 degrees clockwise for a particular reason. It'll all get straightened out in a jiffy. This is Namco Museum Volume 3 for PlayStation 1. I'm running it in the emulator DuckStation in Windows. And in DuckStation, you can rotate the display. So I have it rotated in DuckStation 90 degrees clockwise because I'm going to be playing a game in this collection that is rotated in the collection's settings 90 degrees counterclockwise, I guess. It's the opposite way that most like rotation modes for vertically oriented arcade games rotate. Namco just did it different in these Namco Museum PS1 collections. So that's a little funny thing I always thought was interesting. Let's just go ahead. So the game I'm going to play is Mrs. Pac-Man. And it gives you this nice big warning message. This is the point where normally you would have to go and like pick up your TV and turn it on its side. Fortunately, we don't have to do that these days. Flycast just emulates that part for us. So here we are, it's all straightened out. Now, why would you want to do all that? Why wouldn't you just play it on its normal setting? It's because... Now notice it's actually very close to the arcade graphics now when you're running it in its rotated format. When you run it in its normal format, it's like it's really chunky. It's kind of funny, and I can actually show you that here. So get a feel for the sort of detail level of the ghosts and the dots and Miss Pac-Man and everything here. Okay, so now you can pause it, you can go to screen, and you're hitting, you open this menu with the triangle button for the PlayStation controls. Triangle button opens the menu, go to screen mode, normal mode, which is the default setting. So now this is what you would see, but it's rotated because I have it rotated in DuckStation, so I have to go to my DuckStation menu and change the game properties, display settings, screen rotation. Okay, so this is what it looks like normally on the normal display of the PS1 Namco Museum Volume 3. Notice how it's really pixelated, and like even it's so pixelated that Miss Pac-Man's movement is even kind of like jerky, which I always thought was kind of weird. It still plays the same, apparently, but it just looks like really chunky and slightly jerky when Miss Pac-Man is moving. And you know, the maze itself, the walls are a bit chunkier and everything. The font is a bit chunkier and so forth. So that's why I thought, well, hey, now that I'm running this in DuckStation, I can get the smoother graphics, the higher res, more arcade accurate graphics, just by doing the rotation thing in the game menu and then matching it the opposite way in DuckStation's graphics settings. How cool is that? Super cool, I think. Because this is really, aside from the actual arcade game ROM itself, this is, I think, the only commercial release of Miss Pac-Man that you can get. Where the heck is my rotation? That's in here somewhere. I'll fix this in a sec. As soon as I find the rotation thing again. There it is. Like all the other versions of Miss Pac-Man that you can or could actually buy that I've seen. There's a little screen blur going on. You don't get the nice crisp pixels, but you can get it with this, and you can get it with the arcade ROM in MAME. Now, this is all kind of sort of a academic point, because you can get the arcade ROM from a legal purchase if you get the arcade game series Miss Pac-Man from Steam. And why that is still on Steam, I'm not sure, because Namco these days is doing their best to erase Mrs. Pac-Man from history, since they don't completely own Miss Pac-Man, and they don't get, like, they have to pay royalties to the hackers, the college hackers, who, oh man, I just died, who originally created Miss Pac-Man as a hack of the Pac-Man arcade board, due to decades of legal wrangling. So they're trying to erase Miss Pac-Man, so why they're still selling arcade game series Miss Pac-Man on Steam, I don't know, but if you're at all interested in Mrs. Pac-Man, I would get it now, because it's a source that you can, from which you can extract the actual Miss Pac-Man arcade ROM and then run it in an emulator such as MAME. There's a script on GitHub that'll do the extraction for you. That's what I've used. And so I could, when I've been playing this Pac-Man lately in the videos I've made, I'm playing really badly right now in this. I'm using that ROM from arcade game series Miss Pac-Man that I extracted and am playing in MAME. Now, actually, I'm a little torn right now. It comes out. I think it comes out still one particular way, but I'm almost torn between this version and MAME, actually, because this version does do something better than MAME does, which is the sound. And I don't know which is more arcade accurate, like maybe the sound is the way MAME has it on an actual Miss Pac-Man arcade board. I don't know. Because I haven't played actual arcade board-based Miss Pac-Man in ages. On an actual machine, I mean. Arcade machine. But here, in this version, this Namco Museum version, the sounds of the dot eating are very distinct. Like you hear her eating each dot. Pretty much is what I'm saying. Now that doesn't sound like anything amazing, like that's how it should work, you would think. But if you play this in MAME, and still the latest version of MAME, if you play the arcade ROM that you extract from arcade game series Miss Pac-Man from Steam, for instance, you find that the dot eating sounds almost overlap. You can almost hear her eating like two dots at once sometimes. And even it gets really weird if you're like eating dots and racing along eating dots, and then you eat a ghost at the same time, because there's a pause when you eat a ghost. You know, there's this like dramatic little pause, and it plays the ghost eating sound. And during that pause, when you're playing this in MAME and you eat a ghost, I'll show you the pause. Come on, ghosties, there's going to be my demonstration, buddy. See that pause right there? During that pause in MAME, if you were running along a tunnel that also had dots in it, a lot of the times you hear another dot eating sound as the ghost eating sound is playing. Even though you're not moving through the maze, so you're not eating a dot anymore, you're paused. So there's something weird with the timing of the dot eating sound playback in MAME, and perhaps that's how it works on an actual arcade board. Again, I don't know. But it's weird. In and of itself, it's weird. And that doesn't happen in this version, this Namco Museum Volume 3 version. It doesn't do that. So that's kind of cool, I think. So, you know, more better sync on the dot eating sounds is what I would say for this version. Better than MAME. Again, how arcade accurate that is, I don't know. Maybe the arcade version gets out of sync with the dot eating too. I don't know. Now there are a couple things that I don't think are quite as good as MAME. You could mention that, like, the right hand side of the maze is cut off by a couple pixels, although I cut off the left side also to match that in the video. But the two main things are that the graphics are slightly smaller here. You notice there's these top and bottom screen borders that you would think there'd be an easy way to, in DuckStation, to like just adjust and say, you know, crop this much off the top and bottom like you can do in like the emulator Messin. I do that for when I'm emulating NES games, because NES games just have crazy different border sizes and on all the borders all the time. But I don't think you can do that kind of thing in DuckStation. So you're kind of stuck with this slightly smaller window. I did find that actually, so one thing that's better here than I get out of MAME, although perhaps there's a way to adjust the aspect ratio very incrementally in MAME that I don't know about. I'm not that good with MAME. Is that the aspect ratio here is slightly better. Like Miss Pac-Man is more of a perfect circle here. I had to set the aspect ratio to PAR 111. I forget what PAR stands for. It's some kind of aspect ratio thing. I've seen it before. And that gets the, but, you know, whatever it stands for, that happens to get the aspect ratio pretty much perfectly round for Mrs. Pac-Man's representation here. So that's cool. In MAME doesn't make it obvious that there's any particular way to adjust the aspect ratio for the most part, and it just kind of generally just gives you like 4:3 or 3:4 in Miss Pac-Man's case, I guess. And that's close to around Miss Pac-Man, but she's slightly tall. She's a slightly vertical oval. Very slightly. You can't really tell unless you're comparing it like to this. And then you'll notice it right away. You're like, oh yeah, she's a little more round and less of a... She's slightly oval in MAME. So that's actually another cool thing about this. I kind of forgot about that, but there are two things in this that are maybe more obviously slightly off, which is, as I was saying, that the graphics are slightly smaller. They're set inside these borders more than in MAME. In MAME, you can pretty much adjust it. Well, you don't really adjust it. The picture just happens to come out that there's hardly any border at all, which is cool because it makes the graphics bigger. Miss Pac-Man's bigger on my TV. The other main thing is that the mazes themselves, the walls of the maze, are much brighter in this version, in this PS1 version. That I guess they must have adjusted it that way themselves. Like the ghost colors and Miss Pac-Man's colors are pretty much the same. Like I think two of the ghosts are about the same brightness. Two of them are slightly different brightnesses. I think like one's darker and one's lighter than in MAME. This was me just taking screenshots and measuring the colors in Photoshop. So the rest of it is a wash, but the maze walls are way brighter in this version, and I guess they wanted high visibility or something, so maybe they adjusted that on purpose, but for my sometimes photosensitive eyeballs, I kind of like the slightly less bright maze walls as displayed in MAME. like there's a white single pixel border around the edges of these light blue maze balls, but you can actually barely see it here because the light blue is so light. Whereas in MAME, you definitely see that white edge around the walls, and it kind of gives the graphics a little more depth, although depth isn't, it's not like 3D or anything. It's just there's more color, essentially, because you can make out the different shades used much easier, whereas here that white edge blends into the blue because the blue is so light. Okay, I'm actually playing a little better now. Well, although this reminds me, because now I'm checking my score, is that I'm much better at keeping my high score intact in this version. Because, DuckStation saves it to my virtual memory card and all that. Whereas in MAME, the high score is only retained in a MAME save state, which I tend to, like when I graduate up to when a new version of MAME comes out and I copy my stuff over, I've been forgetting to copy the save states over, and I'm not even sure how compatible save states are between versions of MAME. They're probably mostly compatible, except for a significant point revision of MAME or something. I don't know. I don't have any experience with that. I haven't tried it even in just a regular MAME point release upgrade, but because I keep forgetting to do that. So I keep losing my high score in MAME for Miss Pac-Man. Whereas I've retained it here. I still got my 61K or whatever that I got, who knows when. Oh, what am I doing? I'm looking to bite it. I got my, what is that, a pear, I guess? Why was I thinking kiwi? I forget how many points that's worth. It's not, the main thing that comes along is, what is it? There's something that comes along next that's worth a ton of points. Oh, I'm not gonna get it. Oh no, that's it. Yeah, 2,000 points. That's a big chunk of points by my, standards. Okay, I'm out of pellets. This is a problem. No more power dots. I'm dead. Oh my gosh, I have so many Miss Pac-Man now. Is it Miss Pac-Man or Miss Pac-Mans? I love the red dots on this stage, even though they kind of scare me because I know that I usually lose all of my remaining lives on these red dot stages. Oh, it's banana. Banana's 5,000. That's what it is. I got a banana. You ghosts couldn't stop me. You'll probably get me soon, but you didn't stop me from getting that banana. That's sweet, sweet nanners. Oh, there's another one. I gotta go get it. Out of my way. That's how we professionals do that. Just throw away your chance to eat ghosts. Oh no, I got confused. I was thinking I should have gone up, but I didn't go up. How did I can't handle the pressure. But yeah, this version plays real good, as they would say. Like just kind of from a touchy-feely juking the controls around, I don't really feel any delay difference between this version and the version running in MAME. They feel about the same. How much is the apple worth? I don't even know. I never get this far. Oh no. Oh no. You ain't leaving apple. I'm eating you. Oh, it's only 1,000. It goes down. The banana was 5,000. I got ripped off. That should have been worth 10,000. That's what I say. Make it 10,000. Namco. Oh, it's just giving me random fruits now. Two 2 stinking hundred? This game is broken. I broke this game. It doesn't know what to do. It's like, we're out of fruit, man. Have some measly 200 point strawberry. I mean, I like strawberries and all as actual real life fruits. But 500 points, or 200, wait, what was it? 200, 500, whatever it was. Oh no, I went through the ghost. Normally that's good because you would, you know, like it saves you from dying. But when you're trying to eat the ghost, that's not so great. Like, how do they avoid that? I didn't think that could happen, actually. I thought that only happened... 5,800. I was close. I guess I only thought about the possibility of going through ghosts when they're about to eat you, but I guess it could happen when you're eating them. And, it, like, when they're about to eat you, I think it's like a decent chance, isn't it? Like 1 in... Because it's based on what pixel you're on and what pixel they're on at the specific intersection overlap point, and if it's like the same, then you go through. And so I think it's like it's like 5% or something. Like it sounds tiny, but it means it happens fairly often. But I mean, really, but if that happens, if that can happen when you're trying to eat them, then you would miss, like, you know, you'd miss eating ghosts like 5% or whatever the time. I don't know. And that would mean it would ruin your perfect game, wouldn't it? Like, how does that... well, I guess, actually, well, that would be for Pac-Man. There isn't really a perfect game in Miss Pac-Man, of course, since it's randomized movement. I don't know. I'll never be at that elite level where I have to worry about anything close to that, because I can't even get much over 60k. I think I have 64k in one version or other at some point in my life. I think that might be about my highest score. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't remember what my highest recorded score. This is why I wish I didn't keep losing my save state for MAME, my high score there. Well, so aside from me just forgetting to migrate my save states over, and I'm not sure if they do migrate over all the time, but I have had a save state in MAME just not work, just fail to load when I went to load it back. Or no, it was like it loaded, but there was like a constant noise or something, and it wasn't playing, you know, just wasn't playing the game correctly. I think that happened in MAME. I actually had that happen more recently. It was like there was just a sound playing. It was really annoying, and I think that was in... actually, I forget what that was in now. Maybe that was in Flycast. Flycast tends to be a little flaky around the edges. Like Flycast, this is the Dreamcast emulator, Flycast. Flycast is really good for just super low input delay, like lower than the actual hardware Dreamcast input delay. And graphically it looks quite nice, and you can do widescreen stuff and all this cool stuff, but like some of the other, you might say, less critical aspects can be a little flaky sometimes. But it's just like one guy working on it, I think. You know, they're doing a pretty kick-butt job, really. I love playing Dreamcast games in Flycast because they just it's like 1 frame input delay, man. That's sick for fighting games. That's freaking awesome. I'm doing this wrong. I'm not getting my strawberry, my precious strawberry, which I treated like trash on that last stage when it threw it at me after a gold mine of a banana, but, you know, it's all relative. Now strawberry is what I want. Oh! So, I mean, I'll probably stick to the MAME version just because the graphics are a little bit bigger. And not quite as, the walls aren't quite as bright and glary as they are here. But, you know, this version's pretty cool. Slightly rounder Miss Pac-Man. Better at keeping my high score. More distinct dot-eating sound. It's got good points going for it. Namco did a heck of a job, really, with these Namco Museum collections on PS1. And of course, you could do this rotation and counter-rotation thing in DuckStation with the other vertical games in these collections, like Dig Dug or whatever. But of course, Dig Dug there is an arcade game series Steam version of Dig Dug where you could extract the arcade ROM if you really want that game. I like Dig Dug, and I tried to get into Dig Dug, but my problem with Dig Dug, I think, is the same problem, actually, the same problem I've had with the, what's the later version with his son or whatever? It was maybe they sort of invented later, that was a retcon, Mr. Driller, which is that essentially you're just playing, you're underground, and you're playing until you run out of oxygen. Well, in Mr. Driller, you run out of oxygen, or in Mr. Driller, get crushed to death. So you either asphyxiate, which sounds like a horrible way to go, or you get crushed to death helplessly in Mr. Driller. In Dig Dug, you, like, get burnt to a crisp, or whatever pukas actually do to you. Oh no! Oh no! Or crushed by a rock. You know, and it's all kind of, it's just kind of bleak in the world of Dig Dug. Like here, I guess you get touched by ghosts, but that doesn't seem nearly as bad as asphyxiating below ground, or getting crushed by a rock in a deep hole. Oh no. I guess the other thing with Dig Dug is, like, even though the stages change every time, which on the face of it is more variety than you get in Miss Pac-Man, you know, they're just little caves, and since you're essentially making your own tunnels, it starts to feel kind of all samey somehow. Also, I don't like how... Oh man, I'm not even paying attention. I was just thinking Apple. I don't know why I'm going off on Dig Dug. Dig Dug's a cool game. I just can't really hang out with it anymore. I can get two monsters overlapping each other in a little cave at the start of a stage, and you can't tell that there's two of them there. You just kind of have to memorize it. That's the thing. There's a lot of memorization. Oh my gosh, I keep going for Apple. This is what happens to me in Miss Pac-Man. I get fixated on the fruits after I played it for too long in a session. Yeah, the monsters can overlap at the start of a stage in Dig Dug, and you can't see that they're there, so you just have to memorize which ones are overlapped monsters. Because otherwise, you go in there and you use your little air inflator on what you think is one monster, and then a second monster springs right out from perfectly behind that first monster and eats you or whatever. And it's like, oh man, that sucked. Oh. Although one game that is in those Namco Museums for PS1 that is definitely better in MAME is Galaxian, which lately I've come to prefer over Galaga, which I never thought I'd prefer at all. I always thought Galaxian was just like slow, boring Galaga. And it kind of is if you're playing it in the Namco Museum version, because there just seems like there's less to it, but in and I don't think there's a arcade game series Galaxian. I think where did I might have extracted that arcade ROM from the Namco Museum 50th Anniversary PS2 collection. And when you play that in MAME, the shooting sound, just the sound of a shot makes when you launch your hyper laser spear or whatever your weird ship fires in that game. It just makes this tremendously atmospheric sounding, like whooshing launching sound. It's just its coolest sound, and it really transforms the game. It sounds weird, but it does. And then you start to realize that actually the shooting action in that game is kind of a lot sweeter than it is in Galaga. It's just more of an emphasis on accurate shooting. Oh my god! I see. I went through the ghost. So that in that case, it worked for me. And it never really occurred to me that it could work against me when I'm trying to eat a ghost. But that is arcade accurate. That happens in the arcade version as well. So really, in this game, you should always, like, if you're cornered by a ghost, don't, like, you know, don't die running away from it or something if there's no other escape. Don't just turn tail and run and let them eat you from behind or whatever, because of course later they're faster than you. You want to head right into them because there is always that chance that you will go through them and survive. And I tend to forget that. Because of course your instinct is to just keep running until your last breath, but that instinct is wrong because of that funky collision detection glitch. Oh shoot, the red guy kept going straight up. He knew. It was a stupid risk. I guess if you're going a certain way, relying on a ghost to go the way you would like them to go, then you're asking for trouble. Uh-oh. I don't like how this is going. Is this one of those safe spots, or is... No. Oh. Hey. That worked out okay. 15K, oi. Ooh, no, Pretzel, don't run away from me. I need you, Pretzel. I need your sweet saltiness in my big mouth. I tricked Pink. Oh. Yeah. At least I got one ghost. Oh, it's getting hot. Okay. No. That was so stupid. I just fixated on going here and I was like, I'll make it. Now. See, I'm losing it now. I lose that just reactive, instinctive urge for self-preservation and not taking stupid risks when I have been playing this for a while, which doesn't super help my ability to keep working on getting a better score. Oh man, there's so little time to eat. I'm scared. Oh shoot, I have both of these big tunnels to go through. Yeah, 1,000. Uh-oh. No, why did I do... I can't do this anymore. My brain broke. I gotta go play something else. Get my brain fixed up before I can come back to this. But I probably will keep playing in MAME rather than this version again, because MAME graphics slightly bigger, slightly less glare from the bright walls of this version. Oh shoot. Oh! See, I'm just fixated now on stupid stuff. So, but yeah, this is a super good version, and it is the only other version I've ever had that I could play without blurry graphics and stuff. So yeah, I think it's cool. And you know, in DuckStation you can get the smooth, the arcade size graphic for almost arcade size graphics, rather than the super chunky pixelated graphics of the non-rotated screen version, by pre-rotating or also counter-rotating the screen in DuckStation. So that was a fun little trick that it finally occurred to me. I should have thought of that like a long time ago. And I played a bunch of these Namco arcade, Namco Museum PS1 ports recently-ish. And that didn't occur to me at all for any of those vertical orientation games. Oops. But Miss Pac-Man, of course, is the best. So, you know, now I've straightened that out. So thanks for watching. Probably will do MAME Miss Pac-Man next, although, I mean, the next time I play Miss Pac-Man, unless, I suppose, this video gets like a ton more hits than my MAME Miss Pac-Man videos too, but those do pretty good on their own, I guess, so I don't know. Maybe I'll just end up alternating them until I can make a decision. I mean, this does have the nicer, clearer dot eating sounds. It keeps my high score. I don't screw up my high score as much in this version. It's got that nice, clean, round aspect ratio. You know, it's got good stuff going on. Stuff that is better than MAME in certain respects. Well, I'm probably MAME if I had to pick, if I could have only one. But I could, you know, they say, you know, vive la différence. Wait, what's the other way to say that? Not in bad French. Variety is the spice of life and all that. That's what I was looking for. Okay, I'm gonna go. Thanks for watching. See you later, Waka Waka. Is that the Pac-Man sound? I don't know what I'm saying. Thanks, bye. Bananas.